3 super necessary equipping roles. The first one was leadership. If it is leadership, lead enthusiastically. Leadership means seeing the mission. It means setting direction. It means helping other folks go toward the direction that God wants to go and like it and achieve it. That's what leadership is. It's not just, some of us, there's a dark version of us that could be attracted to this because we like to tell people what to do. That's really not what it is. There is a telling people what to do sometimes. There's direction that's brought, but there's a special blessing from God to see what needs to happen, have a certain amount of acumen, so there is knowledge, and then there's charisma. There's enough charisma to be able to help people go that way. And this comes in seed form sometimes. So sometimes you have a little baby version of the gift, and that's great. We just want to develop it. Some young people, you already have these seeds in you. You're already a leader in some of your classes. The best thing to do, honestly, is to get into leadership soon, where you're under other folks who can take a look and give you thoughts and sharpen you, because the sooner those things are developed, the more you can use them later in life. And besides, especially if you're young, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Yes, you are. Better to make them early when you're around people that love you, who can help you, than to make them late when you're out on your own. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you've got the gifts, God's calling us to do the gifts. But if we don't access this, if we don't develop these, guys, here's what happens in churches where the leadership gifts are not developed. Some of you know this, some of you have seen this. There's a sense of lostness. There's a sense of wandering. There's a sense of scattering. There's a sense of, what are we doing again? What are we trying to do? And here's what happens when nobody necessarily knows who's in charge or what to do. People start making up their own agendas, and sometimes the folks with the least character but are the most loud start to have a big influence. And dude, that's a mini version of hell. So it's just way better. Let's just develop leaders that are full of character and love and winsomeness and helpfulness. Let's do that, because if we don't, progress is gonna be very small and very slow. That's what happens without leaders. The people run amok, man. We just lose our way. So you don't have to be an adult to lead. You know some other things that you can do? You can, even on a small level, you can just lead yourself well. I mean, just think about it. You say, I wanna be in charge of something. Okay, well, you're currently in charge of your life. How are you doing leading that? Like, think about the wise decisions people make. Are you leading yourself into those decisions? Are you doing the things that cause relational peace? Are you doing the things that cause you to progress in life? Okay, well, just at a very basic level, that's a smart place to start. But then there's other places where God it's not necessarily church leading from the pulpit, but there's places in the church where your leadership and your personality and your love and your sense of knowing what to do, man, it would be super helpful to the people of God in this little corner of the universe right now. We need leaders. One of those places is we need producers. I'm gonna invite Pastor Brandon up to have a little chat with me at the table. We need producers. Brandon knows about producers. What's up, B?
Hello.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You know it. Hey, so tell us about this producer role, bro. Why is this important for our church?
Yeah. So the producer is a serving role on a Sunday morning. We have one right now. David. Wave.
Yeah.
Hey, David. He hates that I'm doing this right now. Let's wave at David. So the producer is really tying together a lot of different moving parts that happen in here on a Sunday morning. You might just, if you just came to church and saw what happens up here, you see maybe like the tip of the iceberg. But there's a whole lot that happens in the background, behind the scenes. There's a lot of moving parts. In addition to David, we've got Jeff on sound. What's up, Jeff? James on camera, Chris on camera. You can't see him, but there's a room back there where Jaden is working a video switcher. Andrew's working these slides that we see. All these things, there's different teams trying to work together under a vision. So we've got a plan for a Sunday morning service. We kind of plan ahead of time, try and get as clear as we can about what we're going to do when you get here to church. But you got to know when there's a lot of people working on a project and there's some moving parts of like different transitions, like there's a song and then there's something that happens next. All those things, stuff goes wrong. And so there's instability introduced into the plan, and the enemy hates what we're doing here.
True.
So he tries to exploit those instabilities and start to create dissonance and confusion anxiety starts to rise and stuff like that. It could become a bad thing. But that leader, the producer, is walking through, here's the plan. Let's talk about the plan. And kind of bringing communication between the various parties if a problem arises. They don't have to know how to solve the problem, but it's really helpful to have somebody who can spot the problem. Okay, this is the problem. We need to pull in this party and get them to talk and solve that problem and move on. So that's how they help. Honestly, they help. That kind of leadership, just that calm, that confidence, what you were sharing about, that's really the role.
That's helpful. Do you have to be like a super tech nerd to do it?
No, that's something that people often misunderstand about the role.
Oh, good.
There are specialty positions in the auditorium serving teams. Like if you want to play guitar, you have to be able to play guitar. You can't just come up here and grab a guitar. But on the, all those roles that I just mentioned, really like the sound engineer, you got it, like that's a specialty role, but probably all the other roles, you don't have to have a lot of back knowledge or understanding before you start serving. And the producer they touch all of those areas like cameras or lights or things like that. There's a sense of responsibility for solving problems or identifying and helping bring about solutions in those areas, but you don't have to know, I don't know what half the stuff does. So you don't have to know all that stuff. You just have to be able to spot the problem and
so if someone want to use their leadership gifts to do this, they don't know everything, but they have a sense of, I feel like I can winsomely help people do stuff. Mm-hmm. And they didn't know anything about it. Will we just let them fail and blame them?
Yep, no. We wouldn't do that. Yeah, we would train them. So we'd kind of help walk through. And if you're like leadership gifts, and that maybe is a new idea, like a spiritual gift of leadership. If you're like, I've never taken a spiritual gift test, it's never been highlighted to me. I was trying to think about a way that you might know you're a good fit for that producer role or for a leadership role is if you have a personality that can spot problems, but not just spot problems, but actually start to think about solutions and start to bring about change and improvement to areas. Maybe, and if you're a leader, you're probably willing to roll up your sleeves and put some work into it, not just ask other people to do it. Or I was thinking about like if you're on a serving team or you're on a work team, and something goes wrong, or let's say you're on a family trip and you get a flat tire, there's that initial moment of panic, but maybe you're the first one that kind of gets your bearings and comes to your senses and says, okay, I see the problem, that is a problem, here's what we should do. You might be a leader then. You might be a good fit for a producer role. So
nice. What about like people at work who might be project managers or something like that?
Absolutely,
you still there?
Yep. Yeah, that'd be a great fit. So if you've ever managed projects and you feel like you're pretty good at that, you have some experience doing that. That's essentially the kind of role that producer's doing.
One more question, bro. What do you feel like people don't understand or realize about this role?
Yeah, I think we already kind of touched on it. I think the thing that is a common misconception, we do get that a lot, is people are surprised to discover, I don't have to know how to like program computers to solve these problems. No, you don't. Or that like the solving the problem is all on that producer. It's really just about identifying the problem and then alerting the parties that need help. There's a sense of responsibility, but it's delegated responsibility. I'm the most responsible for it, and you're the most responsible for it next. So, so there's a network of shared responsibility, and we're all just working together and trying to make, trying to realign if there's instability, trying to realign things and push in the same direction. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, that a misconception is that I have to know how to work the soundboard and the cameras and the guitars and you don't have to know all that stuff. You just have to be able to really kind of start conversations and reach for solutions. So.
Dude, I'm so thankful you came up here today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You know it. Hey, so guys, might this be you? There's a QR code on the screen there. If you think, hey, that's the very kind of thing I would want to do, then go ahead and the one on the left is the one you want to click on. Everybody else, there's any other gift that you want to do, you can go to the one on the right. But I wanted to mention, sometimes we can feel like, that's got to be like my thing. That we think about spiritual gifts as like, this is going to be like my soul, stuff that makes me feel so good. I haven't found that to be true most of the time in church. Like God just tends to direct us when we start. So like a lot of folks that really have continued to climb the ladder at Fierce, they started somewhere entirely different. They just said, oh, I got nothing to do, I'm gonna go do this. Or even, I have a ton to do, but I'm still gonna go do this. And the Lord has a way of just directing over time, getting them into the place where they're most gifted if we start where they're maybe gifted. So there's other places in the church that use leadership gifts, yo. There's business leadership gifts that we need. There's Fierce Kids leadership that we need. There is digital media leadership gifts that we need.